Everyone, welcome to this beginner level Kripalu yoga class. Nice to be with you. The intention of this beginner class is fairly simple. We'll move through a balanced flow and sequence of yoga postures. And throughout the flow, the encouragement is that you keep the body, the breath, and the mind integrated with each other. As we move through each posture, I'll be giving you as many options as I can so that you can customize the practice to fit your body's needs. Even though it's a beginner class, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a gentle class. So if you're wanting to create a little bit more heat or a little bit more vigor, I'll give you some options for that. And if you're wanting to make the practice a bit more gentle, hopefully there'll be opportunity for that as well. If at any time throughout the practice you need to come down for a rest or just grab a drink of water, you're welcome to do so. So we'll begin right up towards the front of your yoga mat. And you can bring the feet right underneath the hips. Look down towards the toes, spread them nice and wide. And press down through the outer and inner edges of the feet. So the whole surface area of the foot's pressing down into the mat, and then grow nice, long and tall up through the crown of the head. You might allow the eyes to close gently. Or the eyes can also stay open at a soft gaze down towards the floor. See if you can keep the sense of length in your body. Crown of the head reaching up, feet pressing down. And at the same time, allow the muscles of the face to relax, the shoulders and the belly to soften. In these first few moments, notice how much you can feel in your own body. Sending your mind all the way down to the tips of the toes, and then feeling the legs, the pelvis, the torso, all the way up into the neck and the head, down the arms to the fingertips. And as you stay tuned in to the sensations of your body right now, you might also notice that it is breathing. And allow your mind to follow the whole range and movement of your natural breath. Feeling and watching the inhale all the way to the very top. Feeling and watching the exhale all the way to the very base. Continuing at your own natural rhythm of inhales and exhales. Just like musicians would tune up to each other, the body, the breath, and the mind coming into integration. And one breath at a time now, begin to deepen your inhalations, inviting more and more oxygen into the lungs. And begin to lengthen your exhalation so there's a complete breath out through the nostrils. Every time you inhale, feel your torso expand just the way a balloon does in all directions. The belly inflates, the rib cage all the way up towards the collarbones and the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, slight abdominal engagement to press the air out completely and smoothly out through the nose. This is called the Dirga breath, the complete yogic breath. Few more cycles, breathing in as deeply as you can and exhaling as completely as you can. If you'd like, you can layer on the Ujjayi breath, or the ocean breath. And that's done by creating a slight constriction in the back of the throat. This breath makes an audible sound. So notice with this deep, complete breath, can you hear the sound of your own breathing? Oftentimes, Ujjayi breath helps to keep drawing the mind inward. You might like to experiment with using these two breaths throughout our yoga postures and seeing if your quality of awareness can stay the same as the shapes of the body change and sensation changes. The next time you breathe in, really deep and smooth, sweep the arms out to the sides and up overhead. Lift your chest up towards the fingertips. Mini back bend here, so let your fingertips take you back. Slight arch in the spine as the feet press down. Keep those deep Dirga and Ujjayi breaths. Another breath in, press down, grow long through the fingertips. Now as you exhale, bend your elbows and your knees. Make fists with the hands and round your spine. Tuck the chin in towards the chest, tailbone towards the heels. Send the elbows back behind you. Navel draws in and up towards the spine. Every breath in now, press down through the feet. Spread your fingers wide. Lift the chest up to the fingertips. Baby back bend, slight arch in the spine. Every exhale, elbows and knees bend. Tuck your chin and the tailbone. Draw abdominals in and up. Get as small as you can. So move at the pace of your breath now. Every inhale, the front body grows open. Every exhale, get small. Hug lower ribs towards the hips, chin towards the sternum. And continue this movement, few more cycles here, as quickly or as slowly as your breath is moving. For a little bit more heat and engagement, a stronger reaching up through the fingertips and a stronger hugging down and a pulling up of the navel. For a more gentle flow, very simple and relaxed reaching up and hugging down. Next time you inhale, press down through the feet. Spread the fingers wide. Baby back bend. As you exhale, bend the knees, send the arms out to the sides. Hinge at the hips with the long spine. Full forward fold all the way down. Keep the knees bent, belly touching the thighs. Hands can touch the floor underneath you or grab a block underneath the hands. Let the head be heavy down to the ground. Make any movements that feel good in your body. So you might pedal the heels a few times, let the hips rock side to side, even rotate the shoulders forward and back. Sometimes giving a shake yes and no to the head feels nice. And letting the weight of the torso release down helps to decompress the spine. So head, upper body, heavy, releasing down towards the ground. Next time you breathe in, slide your hands up the shins. Roll your shoulders down and back. Half forward fold. Abdominals are engaged. Slight arch in the spine and tuck to the chin. Exhale, full fold all the way down. Keep the knees bent. Right hand to the floor or a block. Sweep the left arm open into a twist. Right knee might bend even deeper to create space in the hips. Exhale the left hand down, ragdoll. Inhale, right arm sweeps open. Bend the left knee as deep as you need to create more space and ease in the low back. Exhale, right hand down. Once more in either direction. As you inhale, left arm sweeps open. As you exhale, releases back down. Once more, reaching long through the fingertips. Heart lifts towards the hand. Exhale, full fold. Right hand returns under the shoulders. Bring a big bend to the knees. Hips sink low. Sweep the arms out to the sides and then up overhead. Gentle bend in the knees here. Inhale, lift up through the sternum and the chest. Exhale, right hand to the right hip. Left arm crosses over the midline. So lengthen from the left side of the ribs to the hips. Deep breath, might even roll the left shoulder open a bit. Inhale, shoulders stack over the waist. Left hand to the left hip. Inhale, right arm rises, and as you exhale, right fingertips cross the midline of the body. Lengthen through the right side. Few deep Dirga Ujjayi breaths. Once more, either direction. So inhale back to center. Exhale, hand to the hip, or this time right hand can press across the belly as the left palm reaches overhead. So palms reaching away from each other. Same with the shoulders, trying to peel apart. Inhale through center. Fingertips reach out to the side. Exhale, opposite direction. Either hand to the hip or hand across the belly. Right hand in the opposite direction. Inhale through center. Sweep both fingertips up overhead. Lengthen the legs. Mini back bend. Heart lifts up to the hands. Exhale, full fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Slide the hands up the shins. Roll shoulders down and back. Hug your navel up to the spine. Exhale, fold. Then a big bend to the knees, hips stay low. Sweep the arms out and up once more through Utkatasana, and then lengthen the legs. As you exhale, release the arms down by the sides. Close the eyes for a moment. Go inside your body. Notice what sensations are present. Has there been any shift so far in the practice with some simple deep breathing and fluid breath with movement? On your next inhale, open the eyes, look down towards the feet. If they're not already, bring the feet about hip width apart. Once again, toes spread wide, pressing down through the whole surface area of the foot. Slight engagement to the leg muscles, so leg muscles hug to the bone, micro bend at the knees. Take your hands to your hips. Give a forward and back tilt to the pelvis. And then notice if you can find a neutral position where both the belly and the low back are equally as long. Hands can release down, fingertips reach towards the feet. Reach up through the crown of the head, relax the shoulders down and back, gazing either to the floor or straight ahead. And you might stay right here for Tadasana. Or if you'd like to, arms can sweep up and out overhead, fingers spread wide. As the fingers reach up, the shoulders release down. Another option is to bend the elbows in a cactus pose. So once you find the appropriate place to stay in your body, keep taking yourself through those alignment movements. The feet press down, crown of the head reaches up, even space in both the belly and the low back. Then deep Dirga Ujjayi breath. How deep can you breathe in? And how completely can you breathe out? One more breath in. Press down, lift up through the chest and the fingertips if the arms are lifted. As you exhale, release the hands down by the sides of the body, nice and slow. Take a moment to pause. Notice the sensations that were built from Tadasana, mountain pose. Even these moments of pause and space in between postures, just as important to pay attention, to breathe, and to feel. And as you inhale, eyes can open again. Sweep arms out and up. This time interlace fingers at the top. Release the index finger into a steeple pose. Once again, press down and get tall through the fingertips. Shoulders relax down. Keep length through the belly and the low back. As you exhale the next time, press out through the left hip. Let the arms extend over to the right. Keep a balance between both feet. Hands can either stay together or draw the right hand to the right hip for more support. Left arm stays long. So keep an even pressure down through both feet. Shoulders and hips are both squared to the front edge of the mat. Both edges of the ribs are trying to reach long and then rotate over to the right. So primary movement is lengthening. Secondary movement is extending. Once you find your place in the posture, Dirgha Ujjayi breath, breathing really deep and really smooth. Another breath in, press down through the feet, lengthen through the fingertips. And inhale to rise back up. Let the arms release down whatever position they were in. Take a moment to feel your body. Notice if there's any different sensations between the left and right sides. Sometimes it's nice to check in, see what your yoga is doing in your body. And moving to the other side, arms sweep out and up. Once again, hands can interlace overhead. Release the index. Press down to get tall and long. This time, as you exhale, right hip presses out to the right. Arms extend over to the left. Same option on this side. Left hand can come down for more support, or hands can stay lifted for a bit more extension on that left side of the rib cage. Keep pressing the feet down. Keep reaching the ribs out of the pelvis. Shoulders and hips squared. Dirgha Ujjayi breath. Keep coming back to that deep, smooth, audible breath. And an inhale to press down. Engage the abdominals. Rise back up. Slow release of the hands down by the sides. Once again, take a moment here. Notice the release of the posture. And keep picking up postures and then putting them back down. As you breathe in deep the next time, eyes open, sweep the arms out in front of you. So fingertips reaching forward, and then draw the shoulder blades together on the back. Keep the spine long as you begin to bend the knees and send the sit bones down to the heels. So for Utkatasana, standing squat, you might have just a little bend in the knees. You might let the hips sink down really low for more sensation, for more challenge. Hands can stay reaching forward. Hands can come down to the hips for more support. Or for even more heat, arms reach up overhead, fingers spread wide, shoulders relax down and back. See if the belly and the low back can be equally as long. So rather than lifting the sit bones up a lot or letting the spine round, neutral lumbar spine. Once you find your place in Utkatasana, come back to those deep breaths. Can you be aware of the sensations in the body as they change? You can always come in and out of the posture as you like or move to a different variation. Another breath in, sink down into the hips, reach up through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, lengthen the legs, release the arms down by the sides. Notice the sensations on the other side of Utkatasana, standing squat pose. Deep breath in. Take your hands to your hips and shift your weight over into your right foot. Step back with the left foot about 2 to 3 feet. So depending on how much heat you'd like to build in warrior pose, for more heat, the feet are wider apart. For more ease in the posture, feet can come closer together. Whatever you choose, make sure the right knee is stacked directly over the right ankle and you reach back through the left heel. Hug your right hip back and your left hip forward. Lengthen both the belly and the low back. Crown of the head reaches tall, shoulders relax down and back. Hands can stay right on the waist or sweep the arms out and up to Virabhadrasana. Gaze can be down towards the floor at a soft gaze straight ahead, or you can lift the gaze up towards the fingertips. Once you establish your alignment in the posture, keep breathing deep, keep feeling how things change, and can you trust that this won't last forever, that this will change in just two breaths or so. One more inhale, lengthen up through the crown of the head. If the arms are lifted, bring them back down to the hips. Float the chest over that right thigh and step forward, left foot to meet the right. Release the arms down by the sides. So feel warrior pose turning back into a position of rest. All those sensations starting to fade away. Bring your hands back onto the hips. Shift your weight into the left foot this time and step back with the right. Once again, for more sensation, the feet go wider apart. For more ease in the posture, feet come closer together. Left knee stacks over the left ankle. Reach back through the right heel. Draw your left hip back as the right hip pushes forward. Lengthen both the belly and the low back, equally as long. Hands can stay right on the waist or sweep the arms out and up, Virabhadrasana. Fingers spread wide. Shoulders relax down away from the ears. Gaze either to the floor, straight ahead, or let the eyes look up towards the fingertips. And you know what to do. Deep, Dirgha Ujjayi breath. Complete breaths in, full breaths out. One more inhale, lift up through the crown of the head and the chest. If the hands are lifted, release down to the hips. Now this time, lengthen your left leg and then rotate your toes to face the side of the mat. Hands can stay on the hips. Bring your big toes towards each other, heels away, so slightly pigeon-toed here. As the hands support you on the hips, lift up through the chest, slight arch in the spine, and as you exhale, engage the legs, the abdominals, hinge halfway down. So shoulders stay just a bit above the hips. Hands can either stay right where they are. For more engagement in the shoulders, reach the arms out of the shoulders. Fingertips stay just a bit higher than the shoulders here. Keep the legs and abdominals engaged, slight tuck to the chin to lengthen the back of the neck. Even pressure down through both feet. One more breath, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, full forward fold all the way down. Hands can touch to the floor or blocks. Allow the head and arms to release down. Can always bring a little bit of a bend into the knees to take pressure off the hamstrings or the low back. And as the legs stay engaged, the upper body releases and gets heavy down to the ground. Just like in our ragdoll pose, the weight of the upper body helps to decompress the spine. You might like to do a gentle rock side to side or bend one knee a bit as you lengthen the opposite leg. So give yourself a breath or two here to make any movements that might feel good in your own body. Start to come back to a neutral position. Sits bones lift up, upper body relaxes down. Engage the abdominals, press down through the feet, bring both hands to the hips. Lengthen the crown of the head forward, rise up, strong legs, strong abdominals, shoulders back over the waist. Rotate the left toes towards the front of the mat, and then step the right foot forward to meet the left, facing the front of the room. Once again, arms can relax down, shoulders away from the ears. Take a moment to breathe here. And as your eyes open, hands come to the hips once again. Shift the weight back into the left foot. Press down through the left foot as you reach up through the crown of the head. Shoulders release away from the ears. Take the right toes onto the mat. So right heel peels up. Press down through the left, up through the crown. You might stay right here, or take the sole of the right foot to the ankle of that left foot. Right knee opens up, so there's a gentle stretch to the right inner thigh for Vrikshasana. Can either keep that right foot to the ankle, toes touching down, or slide the right foot up to the calf. Another option is to take the right foot and place it above the knee, so right foot presses to the inner thigh. Make sure the foot and the leg are pressing both into each other. From that pressure together, there's a lengthening up through the crown of the head. Hands can stay on the waist or come right in front of the chest to Anjali Mudra. Hands might stay right here or sweep up and then out, fingers spread wide. Gaze down to the floor. Steady gaze helps balance, as well as big, deep breaths. One more breath in. Press down, lift up through the chest. If the hands were separated, palms come together, back down through heart center. And then in your own way, guide that right foot back down underneath the right hip. Feel balance come back to both feet. Arms can release down. Take a moment to pause and notice if there's any differences between the left and right sides of the body after the first side of Vrikshasana, tree pose. You might check back in with that quality of awareness that we established in the beginning of practice, integrating breath, body, and mind together. Now shift the weight into the right foot. Hands come to the hips. Press down through the right foot. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Now left heel can peel up off the ground, toes touching the mat. Either bring the left foot to the ankle. Left knee can open up to the side of the mat to give a gentle stretch to the inner thigh, or slide the left foot up to the calf. Or finally, left foot can lift up above the right knee, foot and thigh pressing together. So that pressure together encourages a little bit more length in the spine. Hands can come into Anjali Mudra, or same options on this side. Arms reach up and then out. Extend. Keep pressing down through the bottom foot, up through the crown of the head. Gaze at a spot that's not moving towards the floor, and bring back that Dirgha Ujjayi breath. Can you notice that balance is a moving target? You never find it and then just keep it. Always have to keep establishing balance. Once more, lift the chest up to the fingertips. Palms come back together if they were extended, hands down in front of the heart. And in your own way, guide the left foot down to meet the right. Feel balance come back from both feet. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up overhead. Lift the chest up to the fingertips. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, full forward fold all the way down in a ragdoll pose. You might press down through the feet, lengthen the hips a little bit higher for this forward fold. A little bit more stretch in the hamstrings. Any movements that feel good, a pedaling of the heels, a rocking of the hips, a moving of the shoulders of the belly side to side. And then bring a big bend to the knees. Let the heels peel up off the ground. Hands come behind the feet and guide your sit bones down to the ground. So hips find their way to the ground. And then hands can grab underneath the hamstrings. Guide your spine all the way down into a supine position. Knees stay bent, back of the head to the mat, arms down by the sides. So bring your feet about hip widths distance apart. Heels come close to the sit bones. Reach your fingertips towards the heels so there's space between the shoulders and the ears. As you breathe in, press down through the feet, the arms, shoulders, and back of the head. Begin to lift the hips up off the mat. You might allow your hips to lift just an inch or two for Setu Bandhasana. You might find your hips lifting up as high as they can go today. You can keep the hands pressing down into the floor. Or if you'd like, roll the shoulder blades together under the back. Clasp the hands and reach your knuckles towards the heels. Find a balance between the shoulders and the feet. And then see if the low back can lengthen just as much as the belly by reaching the tailbone towards the knees. Gentle hug of the inner thighs towards each other. 3 deep Dirgha Ujjayi breaths in Setu Bandhasana. Keep paying attention to the signals that the body is giving you. One more deep breath in. Press down through the mat to lift the hips up a bit more. If the hands are together, you can separate the hands, shoulder blades flatten back down. Allow the spine to round back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. Can you feel each bone touching down? And once the hips and sacrum land, take a releasing, letting go breath here. Feel any sensation that was built in that posture, just moving through the body, starting to fade away. Keeping the back on the mat now, reach your arms out in a T position, shoulders and palms touching down to the mat. And then right knee stays bent, lengthen your left leg so the heel's touching down to the ground. Press down through your right foot, through the shoulders and the hands. Lift the hips up off the mat and shift them to the right side of the mat an inch or two and then land back down. That'll help take the curve out of the spine once we move into the twist. Right foot comes on top of the left thigh. Take a deep breath in, lift the chest. And as you exhale, cross the right knee over the midline of the body into a supine twist. You might bring a cushion or block underneath that right knee. You can always take the left hand to the outer edge of the right thigh, give a bit more weight and pressure down. As best you can, let that right shoulder keep melting down towards the floor. If you like, your eyes can look over towards the right fingertips as well. So every breath in, inflating the torso, noticing the sensation of the deep breath in this twisted belly and chest. Every exhale, the right knee and the right shoulder fall down towards the mat, a little deeper and smoother. Take 2 more breaths here. Reach that left heel away from the crown of the head. Exhales, right shoulder and right knee relaxing down towards the mat. And then inhale, right knee rises back up to center. Release the right leg to meet the left. Take a moment in between to pause. Even out the hips. Notice if there's any difference in sensation between the left and right sides of the body after our first half of the supine twist, Supta Matsyendrasana. And then moving to the opposite side. Arms extend out in a T position if they're not already there. Palms and shoulders touching down. This time bend the left knee, sole of the foot comes to the floor. Press down through the left foot, shoulders and the hands. Hips lift up off the mat just an inch or so, shifting to the left side a few inches or a couple inches and then land back down. Bring your left foot on top of the right thigh. Take a deep breath in. Feel the chest inflate. And as you exhale, left knee crosses over the midline of the body. Same options on this side. You can bring a cushion down underneath that left knee, or you can bring the right hand to the outer edge of the thigh. To bring the twist up into the cervical spine, your eyes look over towards the left fingertips. And then once you find your sweet spot, same process, letting big deep breaths in, inflate the lungs, and every exhale, left knee and left shoulder melt down to the floor a bit deeper. Body, breath, and mind always in cooperation, communication. You might notice this side is slightly different than the other side. That's exactly why we do this. To create balance and ease in the body. One more breath in. Reach out through the right heel, up through the crown of the head. And then left knee lifts up towards the midline again. Lengthen the left leg. Arms can come down by the sides. Feel the hips evening out to the center of the mat. Take a moment, feel what that supine twist did inside your own body. You know, what has your yoga done for you so far in this practice? Take a great big inhale and full body stretch. Reach your fingertips away from the soles of the feet. And as you exhale, hug the thighs into the belly. Wrap your arms around the shins. Give a gentle rock on your lower back, the kidneys, even up towards the middle back, down towards the glutes. It could be a small rock, could be a big rock. And then forward and back, so rock from the shoulder blades up to the sit bones. You're giving a massage along the erector spinae muscles from the shoulder blades all the way down the spine, and then land on the sit bones, heels to the floor. Either cross your legs in front of you and roll onto hands and knees, or you can let the legs come to one side and come over into a tabletop position. Just for a moment, and then you lengthen the legs, draw the front of the body down to the ground. Either chin, mouth, or forehead to the mat, hands come right underneath the shoulders. Elbows close to the ribs, shoulders draw down and back away from the ears. Lengthen both legs long behind you. That creates more space in the lumbar spine. As you inhale, press down through the front of the pelvis. Begin to lift the chin, mouth, or forehead off the mat, and the upper part of the chest peels up. So back muscles are what lift you up to begin. Minimal pressure into the hands. You could even lift the hands up if you wanted to. Take some deep breaths into the belly, and if you'd like to incorporate the arms into cobra pose, press down through the palms. Keep the elbows towards the ribs. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears. You might lengthen the elbows just a little bit to bring a bit of engagement to the biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Keep reaching the crown of the head forward, the toes back, and pull the mat towards the ribs to create a lengthening in the heart. One more breath in. Reach crown of the head away from the toes. Lift up with a deep belly breath. And exhale, slow release down. Chest comes down. You can bring one cheek to the mat. Release the arms down by the sides. Take a moment or two to pause here. Feeling all the sensation that was built up in Bhujangasana starting to fade away. Might even take some deep breaths into the lower or middle back, feeling the back puff up with air. Exhale, letting go, smooth and relaxed. And even these moments of space and ease and rest, just as tuned in, paying just as much attention. And then slide your hands right under the shoulders again, either chin, mouth, or forehead to the mat. Keep the knees down to the ground as you press through the hands. Lift the hips back to the heels. Forehead can touch down to the ground or a block. Arms can either stay overhead or come down by the sides of the thighs for Garbhasana, child pose. You might bring the thighs close together, let the belly touch down to the thighs. Another option is to widen the knees, let the belly go loose between the thighs. If your arms are extended, press down through the palms. Bring some movement into the upper arms, a little internal and external rotation in the shoulders. Moving towards downward dog, so some lubrication into the shoulder girdle, a little bit of warmth building is often nice before going into the full posture. And then another breath in. Lift the shoulders right over the hands, the hips over the knees to a tabletop. Spread your fingers wide. Tuck your toes. Pull the forearms together so that there's an engagement in the arms. Draw your abdominals in and up, long low back and belly. As you press down through the hands, keep your abdominals strong. Knees stay bent. Reach your hips up to the sky and the heels press down to the ground. Crown of the head reaching towards the thumbs, shoulders down away from the ears. Bent knee downward facing dog to begin. So really important that the fingers spread wide, so you press down through the whole surface of the finger and the hand. Oftentimes it's nice to bring some movement into the hips or pedal the heels in the first downward dog. You know, everyone's body is slightly different and needs unique movements to open up and find space, to find ease. So the practice of yoga, it's not just following the leader. Can you listen to your own body? Can you feel and respond with every moment and every breath? Start to move towards your full expression of down dog. Sits bones lift up towards the ceiling. Heels sink down to the ground. Palms press evenly. Find a balance between the feet and the hands. And there's also a balance of strength and stretch in this posture. So keeping a slight engagement in the legs and the arms, but also an openness, a freedom in the chest. Take 3 more deep breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Think about your sit bones reaching away from the fingertips, the heels sinking down to the ground. One more breath in, lengthen and lift. And as you exhale, slow release, start to bend the knees down to the ground, either right underneath the hips or to the edges of the mat. Again, hips back to the heels. Find your variation of Garbhasana, child pose. Head down to the ground or a block, belly either touching the thighs or hanging loose. Take some moments here. Oftentimes, it's actually more challenging to keep the mind present in the relaxing postures. So can child pose be just as worthy of your attention, your care, and your breath as downward dog or a warrior pose? Every moment, can you learn something about your own body, your own mind? And slowly begin to lift the spine up, keeping it long, shoulders stack right over the waist. Take hands to either side of the thighs and guide one hip down to the mat and extend the legs forward and around. So legs are long, can always keep a little bend to the knees for more space in the low back and hamstrings. Another option for this forward fold pose is to bring a support underneath the hips. Oftentimes bringing a cushion or blanket underneath your sit bones, it'll help the forward tilt to the pelvis a bit, so you can come right to that edge of the support if you're going to use one. Flex out through the heels, toes towards the knees. Once again, you can always bring a slight bend to the knees for less pressure in the hamstrings. Press down through the hips, sweep your arms out and up, lift the chest up to the fingertips. And as you exhale, hinge at your hips, fingertips reach long, keep the spine long. You might only come down half an inch or so. So that place where the spine begins to round, just before that place, pause there. Now keep the spine long and release the hands down, either to the toes or to the shins. You could also grab one of your straps and bring it around the feet here too. Keep the heart reaching towards the toes. Shoulders keep drawing down away from the ears. Slight tuck to the chin. Each breath lengthening the spine. Each exhale, shoulders melting down. Can either keep the spine long here. That'll keep the stretch into the hamstrings. If you'd like to bring the stretch more into the back, allow the upper body to round down over the thighs. Chin can tuck, hands can rest in any position, but keep a slight engagement in the legs, either reaching out through the heels or hugging thigh muscles to the bones. It's fine for the spine to round as long as it's lengthening forward at the same time. And then you know what to do. Big, full, deep breaths. Notice whatever sensations are present here. Can you be with whatever's happening? Whether it's a thought, a sensation, or an emotion. Another deep breath in. Reach the crown of the head forward as well as the chest. Rise up. Arms extend up overhead. And exhale, release the hands down by the sides. You can either keep the support underneath the hips for this sitting twist here, or you can place it out to the side depending on your hips needs. Right leg stays long. Bend the left knee, sole of the foot comes to the floor. So you keep pressing down through the hips, up through the crown of the head. Right arm grabs that left shin, pull belly and thigh together. Start to rotate your belly towards the left hip. Left arm can reach behind you, hand touching down to the ground. Relax that left shoulder away from the ear and look over that left shoulder for a sitting Matsyendrasana pose. This can either be a relaxed twist, simply letting the body in a gentle way extend to the left. For more depth in the twist, keep pressing down through the hips. Keep lengthening up through the crown of the head. Keep pulling that left shoulder back and the right shoulder forward. And then, of course, keep that deep Dirgha Ujjayi breath. One more breath in. Press down through the hips, out through the right heel, up through the crown of the head. And then unwind. The chin comes back to neutral first, then the shoulders, chest, and the belly. If you'd like, you can give a counter stretch the opposite way. Keep the spine long as you rotate. And then inhale back to center. Lengthen the left leg to meet the right. Now right knee bends to the opposite side of the twist here. Right foot to the inside of the left thigh. This time left arm grabs the right shin. Pull belly and thigh together. Reach out through that left heel. Start to spin the belly towards the right hip. Then the ribs follow, chest and shoulders follow. Right hand touches down behind you. Release the right shoulder down away from the ears. You might gaze over that right shoulder as it relaxes down. This side might feel slightly different than the other side. Can you give it just as much breath, just as much care? Deep breath in, press down through the hips, up through the crown of the head, out through the left heel. And then unwind. Chin comes back to neutral, shoulders, ribs, and belly. And if you'd like a counter stretch the opposite way, bring the hands to the left side of the hips. Keep the spine long. And then back to center. You can release the right leg long, subtle bend in the knees. Hands can come onto the hamstrings, guide the spine all the way down to the ground. Once you do, full body stretch. Reach the fingertips away from the toes. Get as long as you can. And as you exhale, hug your thighs into the belly. Wrap your arms around the shins. Give a gentle rock side to side on the low back. Take the next few moments here. If the body needs to make any last movements or stretches, and not as important what you should or shouldn't do, but can you listen to the body so closely that the movements that it needs become obvious? And once you feel complete, you can begin to take yourself into a comfortable and relaxing position for integration or Shavasana. As you move into a resting position, feel free to grab any blankets or shirts that might help you keep your body temperature warm. You might like a cushion underneath the knees to help take pressure off the low back, or a blanket underneath the neck or the head. What's most important in the integration is that you're able to let go, relax, and release. So make sure you set yourself up for optimal comfort for these next few minutes. Once you find that sweet spot, take a few big, full, deep breaths in, just as we've done throughout the whole practice. Long letting go, releasing breaths out. With every exhale, let all the muscles of the face soften, the forehead, the jaw, the lips. The eyeballs can be loose in their sockets. Release the hands and the feet from any need to hold or stand. And also allow the belly and the low back to be loose and free to move with your natural breath. There's not too many moments throughout the day where you don't need to do anything, say anything, or be anyone in particular. So give yourself these precious few moments to simply be and breathe. Allow yourself to rest. Without moving quite yet, see if you can allow awareness to come back into the space of your body. But at the same time, stay as relaxed as you can. Is it possible to be totally awake and aware and completely at ease. Notice the movement of the belly with your natural breath. And you might begin to deepen your inhales a bit. Feel the sensation in the belly and the rib cage change. Allowing any natural movements in the hands or the feet, gradually bringing movement back into your body. Just as if you were in your own bed, waking up from a deep sleep. And if you'd like, you can give a full stretch. Reach the fingertips away from the feet. And exhale, roll over onto either side in the fetal pose for a breath or two. You can use your arm as a pillow or even grab a cushion. And then take your time, without disturbing the body or the mind, to press yourself up into a comfortable sitting position for just a moment or two to finish our practice. You might grab a support, a cushion, or block underneath the hips. Allow the hands to rest in any position that feels comfortable, either on the thighs or hands together. The spines can stay long, but relax the face, the shoulders, and the belly. Take a few moments to notice the effects of your yoga practice today. Has there been any effect from consciously tuning up the body, the breath, and the mind together? And if you'd like, you can bring the hands in front of the heart, palms together. Give yourself a bow and a thank you for making such a great effort today. And then a bow to each other for sharing this practice, this time and space. Namaste, Jai Bhagwan, and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.